CD Projekt Red recently delayed Cyberpunk 2077 for a third time, pushing the highly anticipated RPG from mid-November to December 10th. Multiple delays for a game on this scale aren't entirely unusual, especially in the case of Cyberpunk, which is being developed simultaneously for 9 different platforms. What is unusual about this latest delay is the fact that Cyberpunk had already gone gold. In light of the Cyberpunk news, we've compiled a list of 5 other games that got delayed or cancelled after going gold. Going gold is the industry term for when a release build of a game passes certification and can be printed onto physical discs. It's often taken as a sign of confidence that the game will no longer be delayed, as it initiates the process of printing, packaging, and shipping physical copies to retailers. But going gold does not often mean development is complete. Developers spend the next month or so making last-minute tweaks and improvements that are added as day one patches. While it's rare, developers do sometimes run into trouble during that window and make one last delay, or in some cases, pull the plug entirely. Long known as NBA Live, EA's basketball franchise underwent a name change in 2010 in an effort to leave the past behind and usher in the future of basketball video games. The first and only NBA Elite was scheduled to be released on October 5th, 2010, just a week before launch. With copies already in the hands of press and retailers, it was delayed. A little over a month later, EA announced that NBA 11 was cancelled. The reasoning? EA's Andrew Wilson was pretty blunt. He said it was just going to be a bad game. A decade later, EA has yet to regain its footing with the series. A revival attempt in 2012 ultimately failed. Its return in 2013 was a critical disaster, earning a 43 on Metacritic. 4 more NBA Live games were released between 2014 and 2018, though none measured up critically or commercially to 2K's rival NBA series. The franchise's latest planned entry, NBA Live 20, was also cancelled. EA said it's reworking the series for next-gen consoles, but the company has yet to announce concrete plans for its return on Xbox Series X and PS5. 22 days before Army of Two's initial November 13, 2007 release date, EA delayed the co-op shooter to March 6th of the following year. EA said that it needed more time for polish in the delay announcement, with then head of EA Games Frank Gabot adding, "Army of Two has potential to become a lasting EA franchise, so getting that first title right is essential." At that time, review copies of Army of Two had already been distributed, indicating the game had gone gold before the delay. Army of Two went on to hit that March 6, 2008 release date. It received a 7.9 in IGN's review, though it didn't quite turn into the big franchise EA might have been hoping for. The cancellation of Propeller Arena wasn't due to quality issues or developmental woes, but rather a case of extraordinary and tragic circumstance. Propeller Arena was an aerial combat game developed by Sega for the Dreamcast. The game had gone gold ahead of its scheduled September 19, 2001 release date, as evidenced by this 2019 tweet from Sega producer Makoto Osaki, which shows a printed copy of Propeller Arena's final build. However, a week before it was to be released, the 9/11 terrorist attack occurred and Sega delayed Propeller Arena indefinitely. Sega's statement read, "Although the game content does not deal with terrorism in any way, it is possible for a determined individual to deliberately play the game in a manner that generates images similar to those we've seen on the news. We want to avoid causing any additional grief to those involved in this week's tragedy and feel this is an appropriate action." However, Propeller Arena would never be released, and years later, details about the gameplay shed some more light on Sega's decision. Propeller Arena featured a Manhattan-inspired level called Tower City, which was lined with skyscrapers that players could crash into, causing their planes to explode. In early 2000, Valve announced it was bringing the original Half-Life to Sega's Dreamcast following the success of its PC debut in 1998. The console version was to be released that summer and feature visual upgrades as well as an all-new mission custom created for Dreamcast. The game was still expected to be released by the end of 2000, according to the publisher. Multiple delays later, Sierra landed on a new release window of June 2001. As June approached, rumors of a potential cancellation began circulating. Those fears were temporarily assuaged in May when IGN received a copy of Half-Life for Dreamcast. This presumably meant the game had gone gold, and it was only a matter of time before it would be released. However, on June 15th, with only a couple of weeks remaining in that window, Half-Life for Dreamcast was officially cancelled. A detailed explanation was never given. Sierra only offered this cryptic one-sentence statement. Sierra regrets the cancellation of Half-Life for the Dreamcast due to changing market conditions. Thrill Kill, the controversial adults-only fighting game for PS1, was scheduled to be released October 1998. Developer Paradox, later known as Midway Los Angeles, had the full support of the game's initial publisher, Virgin Interactive, and the 4-player fighter was on track to hit its target date. That is until August 1998, when EA acquired a number of Virgin studios and assets, including Thrill Kill. At the time, Thrill Kill was supposedly 99% complete, but EA couldn't get past its violence. Upon canceling it, EA said it wasn't a decision that was made hastily. Our whole executive team was involved in the decision to cancel the game, and we certainly evaluated it to see if there was something that we could do to make ourselves more comfortable with the content. The tone and the tenor of the game are just too violent. There was still hope for Thrill Kill after the cancellation, as those at Paradox thought EA may sell the rights to another publisher. Several companies, including Eidos Interactive, were interested in acquiring the property, but EA refused to sell. EA said they didn't feel the game's content is appropriate regardless of who publishes it, and that as a game about killing, the product didn't meet their standards for appropriate content. Paradox would use the foundation of Thrill Kill to build another fighter, Wu-Tang Shaolin style, which is, quote, roughly 70% identical to Thrill Kill on a technical level, according to Paradox's David Ullman. Thrill Kill might have been for adults only, but Wu-Tang is for the children.
Puffy is good, but Wu-Tang is the best.
So there you have it, a brief history of game delays after games went gold, and would you look at that, we managed to pass a few more minutes until Cyberpunk 2077 finally comes out. Knock wood. God, I hope they don't delay it again.
God, I hope that game doesn't get delayed.
Yeah, I don't think it will. I think they're on top of it. Knock wood.
How are you spending those 3 weeks you thought you'd be playing Cyberpunk 2077? Sound off in the comments, if for no other reason than to kill some time. And for all the hottest new video games and old ones that were so crappy they never came out, keep it right here on IGN.